Was there a question midway through that we were like, I don't know if I'm going to survive this?
Man, just kept drilling it down on me.
Obviously, the conversation that you and Vanessa and Micah had about whether or not.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Button 91. Listen, we're talking to you guys about Paul and him calling out Vanessa Lachey. I say Lachey, but it's Lachey. He called her out, all the way out. And you know what? For me personally, thank God, because she needed to be called out, because her madness was too much. She was way too biased about what Paul was doing and never really holding Micah accountable and wanting to know why he said she had no maternal instinct when the majority of us actually understood. Now, what's the point of having a live audience instead of asking the live audience, audience, do you know why he said that? He never would have told you straight. Would have told you straight why we feel he said that, that she had no maternal instinct. Would have told you, right? But you had it in your own idea, Vanessa, as to why he said what he said. And you couldn't let it go. You kept on pounding and pounding and pounding. But he actually answered the question. He actually told us the reason why. And so, yes, Micah, Paul calls out Vanessa, and rightly so. He has every right to. So we're going to break down a little video really quickly. It's about a 3-minute video, but I'm not going to go all the way through it because I think ET will probably end up copyrighting everything, and you know how they be. But we know there was a good conversation that was happening between them. So let's break that down. But if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. And don't forget to click on that bell button, the black bell button, for the notification of the uploads. Why? Because we want to be able to make sure you get the notifications when we go live and when we upload different videos as well. All right? Appreciate you guys. All right, let's get into this video and let's break it all the way down. Here we go.
She could be a mom or the mom to your kids came up.
I struggled with, at least in terms of envisioning Micah as like.
Yes, and I think Vanessa might have had a little bit of personal bias in that scenario, or at least I kind of detected that. I don't know, but that's just my assumption based on how she continued to drill into it after I gave my full rationale for why I felt the way that I did. And I owned as much as I could of that scenario and took responsibility for.
And that was a key thing too. He was actually taking accountability, right? He was actually, saying, "Hey, this is me. This is what I did, and this is what I'm about." And literally, he took ownership of what he had said. So I don't know what more, you wanted from him, right? Did you want him, what more do you want him to say? Like, what else could he have said? And so honestly, it's unfortunate that it got to this point because she really was going hard at him. It was unfortunate that it got to a point where, she kept on trying to nail him to the cross, almost trying to make him a villain. I think that's what it felt like. It felt like she was trying to make him a villain, similar to how she did with Marshall at one point, where she said, "Do you not understand how she feels?" And it's like, baby, like, this is not even one of those situations where you can even be more biased to the women. The women were clearly out of line. So it's like you don't even have a leg to stand on. That's why it looks so bad. Usually she can get away with it because there's a gray area. It's a bit like the Zainab situation, a bit more grayish area. But the reality was Zainab was moving mad too, right? And on this season, we're seeing it the same thing again. We're seeing the fact that Vanessa's taking the side of the villains of who are women and not hold them to a flame and not hold them to account. In fact, it took Zach, the superhero, to hold Irina to flames. But hey ho, we know. Let's go.
The full capacity in which I think that I was obligated to, then she continually said, "Well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you ask this of her? Why didn't you demand this of her?" And I just like, that gets into the philosophical nature of relationships and like, is that right to demand your person to change in order to fit you? Like, that's a
Now, that's a different question entirely. And of course, I think for him, because he's a bit of a scientist, a bit of a more logical thinker, he himself believes that should I really be, forcing her to change because it should come naturally. I don't want to be like changing her and not her being her true, authentic self, which I totally get. I understand. Maybe, a question could have still been asked. Okay, a question could have still been asked, and I would have been happy with it if he asked a question, but I totally understand what he's going through and saying, I don't want it to be a thing where I'm controlling it. I don't want it to be a thing where it's not your true, authentic self. And the reality is, it wasn't there. He knew it wasn't there, right? He knew it wasn't there. He's being polite. He's being kind because he knows it isn't there, right? Because if you can see a little bit of it, you're going to try and foster it. But there was none for him personally. There was none, right? So that's why it came out the way it did, all right?
debatable question.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how sweaty were you getting in that moment?
I was sweaty. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I drank I don't know, like 3 cups of coffee, like immediately before, during like the lag, the pause. I was just chugging coffee. So yeah, I was definitely sweating.
Do you feel like you got the closure that you needed from this live reunion? Do you feel like there was still more that you had to say or wanted to say or didn't get the opportunity to say about your journey on the show?
Yeah, I do. I feel like there was a lot of topics that involved me that I wasn't given the opportunity to speak fully on.
And this is what we're trying to say, because there was poor hostmanship. There was poor hostmanship. And so because it was poor hostmanship, there's a lot more for you to say because the questions weren't asked. The focus was so entirely on you not calling her maternal instincts. It didn't allow for more depth to be spoken about. And had there been a bit more steering and guideship in the questioning, he would have been able to answer a lot more questions and give us a lot more content. But we're here, Sha, can't go back and do it again. Do you know what I mean? And that's the frustrating thing. That's why I said I wish they did this 3 months in, where things are still fresh, people are still feeling some way, and people can recollect things that have happened to them. And the question would have been different. I mean, hopefully it would have been different, but if you have Vanessa as a host, it might not have been, right? But that was what was needed. So clearly they've missed a trick here, and he's kind of said it as well.
And that's okay. I think that your character comes through no matter what you say, and your intentions come through. I think I don't know how, but it's very transparent. I think on camera, like whenever you have good intentions or you don't. And so I don't necessarily feel slighted, but yeah, I do have a lot more to say on a lot of different topics.
What was one of those topics? What's the bullet point of one that you wanted to get across that was important to you to get across that you didn't get the chance to?
Sure. So I think that it was extremely reductive in the way that they dismissed all nuance and complexity around why I said no. So they said, it was framed as the reason why he said no is that she wasn't able to fill a mothering role and a nurturing,
And we all know that was not just the sole reason. I did a video on this. I said one of the 5 reasons why he did what he did is because of what was said, what was done, on the show. I said one of the 5 reasons would have been what he mentioned in those clips on their episode 12. There was more than just a maternal instinct, right? And I'm sure he probably could have listed a few more, right? I'm sure he could have listed a few more as to why he didn't want to marry her. Right. So, I just felt like it was unfortunate, in the way that they missed a trick here again, number one, but also because she was trying to create an angle. She was trying to create a new villain. And it's you can't create a new. We saw 12 episodes, babe. OK, we saw 12 episodes. And because we saw 12 episodes, we have an idea of what that person is. So you trying to reframe it and re-narrate it, bring a new narration to it, baby. We're looking at you like you crazy. Stop it. Right?
Atmosphere or whatever. That was one piece of the puzzle. It was incredibly complex. There was so much more to that. But that was the answer. That was the reason why. And that's just a fraction of the story, man.
Now, when Zach says that he felt like Micah was here, maybe not necessarily for the best reasons, to be, maybe to find fame more than a relationship. What was your reaction to that? Is that something that you guys had talked about in that long phone call before the wedding day?
No, that really didn't come up until after. We heard a lot of things I think that were a bit disconcerting from third parties claiming that,
Oh, okay. So there's more conversation that was coming up, in the situation. Oh. So there was other things that were coming up, baby. Well, my eyebrows are looking kind of healthy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Damn. But yeah, look. So sorry, I got on topic there. But no, the reality here is that like you said, the conversation of her not being real on the show only came up because after there were things that are coming out from third parties that are saying stuff about how Micah's behavior actually is and what she really feels. So the reality is, again, we saw her character on the show. It looked like she was there to be a mean girl, and she didn't really. I don't think she really wanted to say yes. I think she wanted to make it look like a victim, but I think she wanted to say no. I think she wanted to say no. And she could have said no, but instead she wanted to make Paul the villain. It's elite manipulation, to be honest. But the truth came out through other parties, or I should say, at least a truth allegedly came out after a few other parties have spoken, because they encountered her for real, what she was like.
She had told him those types of things. And so, yeah, it was rough to hear, and it definitely made me question things, no doubt.
My guy Paul, he held it down. You know what I mean? He held it down. The reality is, listen, look, you had to call out Vanessa because Vanessa was doing way too much. And I think this is again linking to other video we just done about Vanessa should be no longer the host. Is that, you know, the amount of biased views made us miss out on a really great show. Now, Paul was probably one of the worst ones that was affected because Vanessa was really going at him, just like Marshall situation too. And it made it seem like she had a personal vendetta against Paul and Marshall, as if they'd done something to her, or they'd done something she found out something about those two, which was never alluded to and never was made clear on a reunion. So clearly, this is personal feelings from Vanessa, and when you do that, it doesn't look good. Yeah, especially if the personal feelings isn't even directed in the right place. So shout out to Paul for calling Vanessa out. But listen, let us know your thoughts down below. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much love, much appreciation. You got the man around.
You know what